Well, good afternoon there, Crisis followers. This is Radmal once again with another virtual midlife crisis update. Um, for the links in today's show, stop by myvirtualmidlifecrisis.freewebspace.com and you can find out, you can go read any of the stuff I talk about. There's some links there that'll give you some more information. And if you're new to the crisis, you can get an idea of what kind of nonsense we've been doing here. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of listening to some Blogging Heads TV, especially particularly their Science Saturday programs. But it's sort of a think tank group, intellectuals discussing intellectual type ideas, and I find that kind of thing interesting. And there's also the TED conference is going on down in Monterey right now, so they've been putting some good new videos up on their site. So if you're into that kind of thing, I highly recommend it. Anyway, the other day they were talking on the Blogging Heads, and they were talking about Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher, and his idea of eternal recurrence. And I'm going to read you a little something from Friedrich here. This life as you now live it, and have lived it, you shall have to live once more and innumerable times more. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything immeasurably small or great in your life must return to you all in the same succession and sequence, even this spider and this moonlight between the trees, and even this moment and I myself. The eternal hourglass of existence is turned over and over, and you with it, a grain of dust. And this was supposed to be a counter-argument to the nihilism, which people that are into Metalocalypse, they'll be familiar with that. But there's a good paper by a guy by the name of Philip Adams, gives you some more detail in the log. Like I say, the link will be up on the site. But what this got me thinking about was in physics, quantum physics. There's this many world theory, part of the Big Bang and inflation and all this going on. One of the consequences of all this weirdo mathematics is multiple universes, and along the same lines of the recurrence that Nietzsche was saying, well, if you're just a dickhead and do everything for experience, you may not like what happens, and you have to live the experiences over and over. And I don't know enough about it to get any further into it. But I'm just going where this took me. I'm not gonna rebut his idea. Although, so anyway, to not digress too far, what I would like to explain to folks that about the many worlds theory is that out amongst the universe as we travel through it, there are an infinite number of universes. This is someone's idea. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but in each of these universes there is a certain probability that certain things will happen. And each time something happens in your universe, there is a probability wave that collapses, and this is part of the quantum physics, the quantum mechanics. The calculation of these probability waves can be done somewhat, although I don't know the math that well. It's above my pay grade specifically to deal with that. Excuse me. Anyway, so there's all these many worlds, and each time I do something, the probability wave collapses and creates an infinite number of new universes. And this is, sort of fanciful thinking, because as far as I can tell, no one can propose any way in which they get to communicate between these universes that you could actually do. There doesn't seem to be any way for them to share information. And I'm talking about information in the physics sense of the world. No radiation seems to pass between. And the things like wormholes and stuff that people talk about that might go through from one to another, you always end up going through a singularity, so that kind of fucks you up to the nth degree. When you go through the wormhole, you tend to get foobarred, and that's not cool. But anyway, This all kind of wrapped around to today's yesterday's training session, actually, in that in my particular universe, the probability that I would get smacked by a car door came up, and the wave collapsed, and so did I, onto the street. And while I was kind of lying there, I was thinking about why in all of the universes that this had to happen, did it happen to this Radmal? Why couldn't it have happened to some other Radmal in some other universe? Anyway, I'm lying there in the street and shouting out a few expletives, and the poor little girl that opened the car door, she was about 11 or 12, and her mom was a little freak because she thought I maybe had hurt myself. And I tell you, the Specialized is a tough bike. It's a lot tougher than this old body because it didn't hardly. It's got a little bit of scratch on the paint, but it didn't take a bend at all. You know, didn't even tweak it a tiny little bit. Although it, like I say, it tweaked me. It's put a little hole in my elbow, a little blood, but and I'm bruised and sore because that's, of course, every time I fall these days, it's always on the shoulder. That's all where the sternum's all screwed up and stuff. So man, I'm in a lot of pain today. But I just felt that it was so horrible for this poor young girl, much more traumatic for her than it was for me, although I did freak. But like I say, why did it have to be this universe? Anyway, there's some other new things up on the site that was a lot funnier to me, I guess, than when I actually got it out. But anyway, the cardoor uncertainty principle, the wave collapsed, and fortunately life is going on and everybody's okay, and didn't dent their car up too badly and didn't hurt the bike. But I'm sure it traumatized that poor little girl, and hopefully she'll live through and get over it. But also on the site now, I've decided to start putting up some of the novel I've been working on. It's a swords and sorcery, science fiction, fantasy kind of thing. I happen to think it's kind of original, the take that I've gone. I've never really read anything quite like what I'm trying to create, but I've not read everything in the world. So if you've read something like it, feel free to add whatever criticism you'd like. But it's also up on the website. I put it up a couple of pages that you can kind of test read, and then I put up a file that you can download if you think it'd be worth reading. And if you don't want to download the whole, it's not a huge file. It's in Word. If that's a problem for you and you do want to read it, shoot me an email at radmal@aol.com, and I can always change the format for something. I had it in that format, and what I put up is a small block, and I'll be adding more over time. I don't know how much I'm going to put up in the reading area. I'm kind of looking for one of these sites that host stuff, a forum type site where I can post it where more people will see it, because not too many people have visited the site. And maybe I'll even read a page or two on here and put it up on the old YouTube and see what happens. But anyway, it's Dragon's Justice is the name of the book, and it's a work in progress. So, but I think it's far enough along now that some of it is actually readable, and some people might enjoy it. If you do, that would be cool. So, haven't been out camping yet. Still trying to get back in shape from the long layoff. But the weather's turning nice, so hopefully we'll be getting out amongst the world shortly. This has been Radmal for My Virtual Midlife Crisis. Stop by at myvirtualmidlifecrisis.freewebspace.com and check us out.